Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Samantha Cain, founder of Roots Wing Wellness and a certified holistic life coach. For nearly a decade, she has been helping people reconnect with themselves through self awareness, conscious living, and practical rituals that support lasting transformation. Before becoming a coach, Samantha explored many different paths from corporate jobs and teaching to working with wounded veterans and even a psychic bookshop. Today, she helps people break old patterns and live more authentically. Samantha, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Oh, thank you, Sekani. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, Samantha. So, yes, can you take us back, to your 20s, basically? So, what was life like for you in your 20s, and what were you searching for during that season of your life?
Oh, what a lovely question. And
Mm.
it actually just energized me and made me feel like this is a fun opportunity to revisit that part of my life. The 20s, for me personally, were a blast. It was
Mm.
a very exciting time in my life. I got to experience travel across the country and just to many places. It really broadened my scope of thinking. It
Mm.
expanded everything in me to just know that there was more than my local town life and what I had experienced up to that point. And I always knew there was more out there, but seeing it firsthand with my own eyes
Mm.
and just smelling the different smells of everywhere I was going and learning new things from different people I was meeting. It was a beautiful experience. At the same time, it wasn't all, sunshine and rainbows. It was a bit of a mystery too, because it's that time in your life where you're trying to figure out who you are.
Mm.
And so it was a bit of a fight with ego that's trying to help you live your life at that time, but also through spirit where you're excited and you just want to not fall trap to all the distractions out there, but sometimes you do because you're still young and there's a lot to
Mm.
learn. So it was a great balance for me to dive deep into both, to make a lot of mistakes, to do things now looking back that are so
Mm.
different than I would do them today, but also just a really overall beautiful experience that I look back with great fondness of that time.
Mm. Wow. Okay, so first of all, I like that you said, it wasn't all rosy and all, because I mean, it makes it more realistic, right? Because
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I like to believe that you had some struggles, or should I say doubts, that you experienced in your 20s. That's
Oh,
if I'm correct. Yeah.
oh, you're very correct. Absolutely. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they're not telling you the truth.
Hmm.
Because when you're in your 20s, you again, you're still young and you have a life ahead of you of adventure and learning and putting those new skills that you're learning over time that take time to learn the process of how to progress with them in the right way, meaning what's best for you, not for what the world tells you. And in your 20s, you're kind of ingesting what the world tells you to do and who the world tells you to be. And that starts with your family and your educators, when you're going to school, and then your first jobs that you have, and then what's on the news. And so everything that you're learning, a lot of it isn't really yours. You're adopting energies from other people. And so in your 20s, it's like a little bit of a struggle to figure out who you are because the world's telling you who to be. So you're trying to do
Mm.
things your own way. And at the same time, the world is like, no, this is the way. And it's not
Mm.
until later in your life that you can start to shine the noise and really get deeper into who you really are.
Mm. All right. Wow. Honestly, I'll say thank you, Samantha, for letting us know that, right? Because, most young adults today, they feel like they need to, have it all figured out in their 20s, right? They
Mm.
feel like I don't know, some even feel like they're running out of time. I'm not even going to say some. Sometimes, personally, right, I do feel that way in my 20s. So, thank you for letting us understand that we don't have to have everything figured out, right? It's a learning process, and learning is lifelong, basically. And
Oh, yeah,
right. So yes, thank you, Samantha, for that one. So,
of course.
I want us to dive into what you're doing now, basically. So what led you to, become a holistic life coach and, start Roots Wings Wellness?
I think what led me was that I was born into this. I've always been on a mission, and that's why I love that you are hosting this podcast that is centered around the age of 20s, that specific
Mm,
decade, because you're old enough to start to know better and do things on your own. And then you're still young enough where you have a lot to learn.
mm,
And for me, starting this whole business of mine really began in my youth. I've
mm,
mentioned this many times over on to many different people that have asked where I started. This was really for me in my experience through all the jobs that I had, because I had a lot and I was never
mm,
fired. It was just that I really wanted to experience the world through different lenses. And so I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to be in different careers and work with different employers and different coworkers and every personality under the sun, which was basically like medicine prescribed for me. And that learning how the world works through different
mm,
people, through their responses, taught me who I want to be and who I do not want to be.
mm,
But it all takes time. You
mm,
like you were saying that in your 20s you have this sense of urgency and everything's a rush and you feel like you gotta have it and you gotta do it and you gotta get it now. But that's a fleeting feeling because if you're lucky, you should be living decades and decades longer
mm,
and get to experience everything you need to, because there's a lot more tools to add to your belt so that you can have a smoother time living because
mm,
it just honestly gets more challenging. And you can't sugarcoat it and think it gets easier as you grow. That's just not true. But it can get more manageable if you
mm,
allow yourself to say, okay, I messed up. I made a mistake. That was a lesson. And look at things through a different lens and a different point of view. So there's just so much to learn. And the more open you are, this is what I help guide my clients with. Um, I help open their eyes and open their heart to understanding that just because everything is temporary, but
mm,
it feels like whatever you're in is forever and you're stuck and it's a struggle and you'll never get out of it. There are pathways to help us uncover deeper clarity in things, and that being stuck is a mindset, and we don't have to adopt those ideas, because really that's not a good philosophy to believe in. We're never really stuck. It's just energy that needs to move and knowledge that needs to be used. Because you know that saying, when you know better, you do better.
Right.
Well, that's not always true. I know a lot of people that know better, but they definitely don't do better. So I come in bridging the gap. I help people take better thoughts into more aligned, more better prescribed, more well-intended action. And
Mm,
it's all doable, but you gotta just know that the lessons are actually disguised as blessings. Once
mm.
you understand that and really live in that way, then life gets so much easier.
Oh, right. Wow. Oh, okay. So yes, thank you, Samantha. And when you said the things that happen are actually lessons, right?
Yes.
It seems easy, but it's actually difficult, right? Especially when someone has been through, someone who has had a traumatic experience, right? It's going to be difficult for them to turn that experience into a lesson. So, is there a framework or is there something specifically that you advise people to do in order to, make their experiences into a lesson and just help them navigate life better?
Yes, it's learning how to let go.
Hmm.
That's a really big one. Because you can research all you want, breath work, meditation, journaling, and those are all very ideal and important, very integral to well-being and just, daily practical tools to use. But it's learning how to let go is really the probably the biggest lesson because that's attaching itself to nervous system regulation, which is kind of trending lately. A lot of people talk about it. It's like a buzzword, but it's actually very central to everything we do because we overcomplicate a lot in our lives and we tend to self-sabotage in a lot of spaces where we don't need to. And that's because of the way that we respond and react to people, places, and things in our lives. So when we get a better handle on centering ourselves and recalibrating our energy, then we can have more control over situations in our life. And it'll really turn things around. It will make you not feel stuck. It will make you not feel as anxiety ridden or depressed or like you don't have ability to manage your life because you do. It's just in these tiny little shifts with your mind that you get to play this game like your life is a movie and you're the main character. But it's like, are you taking control or are you letting the world around you take control? So this is a way to get your power back in a really deep, profound way, is letting go of all the things that don't matter in your life and really practicing it, not just talking about it, but being about it.
Oh, all right. Like you said, letting go, right? And centering yourself, basically. Because I feel like a lot of young people today, they don't actually, I don't think most of the decisions they make is because they want to, right? And I think you said it at the beginning when you said we want something, but society also wants something for us, specifically young adults, right? So
Mhm.
centering herself is one of it's a big deal. It's almost impossible as a young adult. But thank you for letting us know that it's actually possible, right? And the first step we need to take is letting go, basically. Wow. Okay. So yes, thanks for sharing that beautiful one with us. And you also talk about shadow work and spiritual embodiment. So what do those concepts really mean in everyday life?
Yes. So shadow work is really facing yourself and and what that means is just being honest, being
Mm,
your authentic, genuine, real self, not trying to be cool. Because let's face it, when you're in your 20s, you're trying to impress people, and it's
mm,
kind of just what it is. And it's like you have to call yourself out on this. You really do, because you're going to be putting yourself in environments where people are doing certain things that don't really align with who you are. And you know this because there's a little voice that's called your gut, that is your instinct, which is really truly a gift and an honor to have an instinct. And we do not use our instinct too much of the time. And
mm,
what happens is we make terrible choices and we go along with things that we know we shouldn't go along with. And that gets us into a lot of trouble. And then at the same time, when we do make these mistakes, we need to also give ourselves some grace and allow ourselves to let go of shame and guilt for doing a bad thing, making a wrong choice, not going somewhere that we should go, or doing something we know we need to do, or not being friends with someone that is just not good for us to have in our lives, or whatever it is that just doesn't match what you need in your life, that is like a healthy choice or a healthy person to have around or a healthy environment or a job that's going to help you grow. All these things are areas that really help us and support us. And oftentimes in our younger years, we tend to keep going in, I don't like to usually say the wrong direction, but for sake of this
mm,
conversation, sometimes we tend to go longer down a more difficult path. And our gut is telling us,
mm,
no, don't stay here. This isn't the right way. Um, but the real thing that matters is that eventually you learn how to steer yourself in the right direction. And there's really no wrong choice. There's no wrong answer. It's just that there's always better. You can always make a
mm,
better choice. And so when you feel like something is wrong or some person is wrong for you, it's about not only being aware of it, but doing something about it. That's the difference. That's where the choices that you make will impact your life better. That's really what it's about, is your choice making, your decision making skills, and then actually applying them to your life. So again, back to the not only knowing better, but doing better. And this happens over time. It's a practice. It doesn't just come, right away because, oh, now I'm a young adult. Now, in some states, wherever you are, I'm 18, I can vote, or, I can do these things. It's not like you just receive a package of adulthood all of a sudden and you get all these
mm,
things. You have to grow into them.
mm,
So, these are that's kind of the complementary piece to life. You have to earn it in a way. You have to learn that you don't get there just because you're a certain age or because this is what all your friends are doing or your family's always done it, so you should do it that way too. You have to be careful with your choices and whatever matches for you, work towards that. Because at the end of the day, it's not about impressing other people. It's about doing things that feel right and healthy for you.
mm. Wow. Oh, okay. So thank you, Samantha. I just want to let you know that I'm learning a lot, right? I feel like you're even talking to me directly.
Am
'Cause-
I speaking to our inner children right now?
Yes, you are actually. I mean, it's almost like you're describing my life, right? And
Yeah,
I'm so awed. I'm in so much awe actually. And at least now listening to you, I know what to do, right? And like you
yeah,
said, it's a step-by-step process, right? It takes practice. It doesn't just happen overnight, right? So, wow. All right. So yes, thank you, Samantha. I think I really needed to hear this actually. And all
Oh,
right. So before
great.
I ask, yes. So before I ask my final question, right? I would like to ask this one. So out of all the work you do, so what conversation are you most, passionate about having?
I say that again. I'm sorry. What?
All right. So, out of all the work you do, what conversation are you most passionate about having?
Uh, I'm most passionate about well, I think it's more about a state of being that people are in.
Mm,
When people come to me with full accountability and they own where they are, whatever uncomfortable position or stage or phase of their life that they're in, that is the most ex beautiful experience for me because
mm,
it creates an open-hearted pathway for the person that's coming to me for support, and it
mm,
allows me to better guide that human. You
mm,
can't help someone and you can't help yourself unless you are open-minded and unless you do own what is happening to you. And also, as a reminder, I always say it's not happening to you, whatever it is that's going on that you're not um, so happy about. It's what's happening for you because it's an
mm,
invitation for change.
mm,
It's creating hope that where you are is not where you're always going to be. And it's
mm,
allowing yourself to have that reminder that everything is temporary.
mm,
So any negative feeling that you have is like a momentary placeholder or a little bookmark, but you can always move the needle. You can always move the bookmark to a different page or a new chapter. You can always shift gears into something different. You just have to have accountability and willpower and
mm,
some courage to make those tiny little moves, not in an overwhelming way, just in a sense that you know you deserve more and you know that
mm,
you can do better, but you have to take little steps to get there. And in this way, it allows for a gentleness and more of a simplistic reality instead of like throwing yourself into this wave of, oh my gosh, I have to do this thing. This is so overwhelming. I don't know how, this feels so challenging. I don't even know where to start. And that's kind of the space a lot of people come to me with. But the majority of my clients are open-minded enough that we are able to trailblaze and
mm,
find what's going to work for them individually and realistically for their own life. And it's not about me telling people what to do, it's about people accepting the work ahead. Like they know that it's not going to be easy, but they're excited for the change, so they're willing to do it. And those are my favorite types of people to work with and favorite types of conversations and what really get me passionate because I see in them that change is going to happen because they want that change to happen.
mm.
That's when it does.
Wow. Okay, so yes, thank you, Samantha. This has been deeply insightful for me, and I wish this could go longer, right? Because I feel like I have a whole lot of questions. What if you don't mind doing like, like a part two or something so we could go deeper into this topic, honestly. And
Absolutely. That would be my pleasure. Anytime.
oh, thank you, Samantha. All right. So yes, and finally, how do you hope Root Wings, or should I say Root Wings Wellness, right? How do you
Yeah.
hope it evolves in the year ahead?
I would hope that I align with people, just like I mentioned earlier, that have already done so much work themselves that just need a little bit more support and that
Mm.
need, and I mean this kindly, but they just need a little kick in the pants because
Mm.
they need something that is a lighthearted experience that can help carry them through. And I find myself being in these supportive roles and playing that co-captain with them in their life. And I just absolutely love and cherish my time with my clients. So, um, for those types of people to reach out to me and for me to get to experience that more and continue my own personal entrepreneurship and just continue the pleasure of doing this because I really, really cherish the work that I do. I just love it.
Mm. All right. Wow. So yes, thank you, Samantha. I would say this has been really amazing, honestly. And you know, before you go, right, where can listeners get to, reach out to you, connect with you, and also learn more about you?
Sure. So I am on Instagram at Roots Wings Wellness. And I
Mm.
also have a website, www.rootswingswellness.com.
All right. Root Means Wellness. And I'm gonna put a link in the show notes so it's easily accessible for listeners. And to my listeners, I would say thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone who you think might need this. And also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Once again, thank you, Samantha. I do have a beautiful day ahead of you.
Oh, same to you. Much appreciated. Be well.
Oh, thank you. Take care.